So here's a wild thought. What if the life you're living, right now, is basically a kind of dream? Today, we're diving into this really profound idea from Eastern philosophy that says, well, pretty much that. But more importantly, it gives us a roadmap for how to wake up from all the stuff that keeps us feeling trapped.
Okay, let's start with something we've all been through. I want you to think about the last time you had a really bad nightmare. You know, the kind where everything feels completely, terrifyingly real. That feeling of being totally trapped? That's the key that's going to unlock this whole concept for us.
I mean, that's it, right? It's such a universal feeling, this sense of absolute helplessness. You're trying so hard to do something, anything to escape. You're running, you're shouting, but you are just powerless. It feels like the entire world is rigged against you and nobody is coming to save you.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The central idea we're exploring today is what if that feeling, that powerlessness, that struggle of being just one person against a world that won't cooperate, what if that's not just for nightmares? What if our waking life is actually built on the exact same foundation?
Just look at the parallels here. They're kind of amazing. In a dream, everything feels intensely real. You feel totally separate, you feel vulnerable, and you're desperately looking for some kind of outside help. Now, think about our waking world. It's often the exact same story. We feel like this little separate me against a big, scary universe, and we spend our time chasing external things, money, success, approval, hoping they'll fix what's wrong on the inside. Well, this deep-seated feeling of being separate, it has a name. It's called Advaita, which basically means duality. It's this fundamental illusion that you are an isolated self, completely separate from the world around you. And according to this teaching, this belief in separation, this idea of me versus them, that is the actual source of all our fear and all our suffering. That is the nightmare.
So, okay, if our life is a kind of dream of duality, how do you get out? You know, when the monster is chasing you in the nightmare, what's the real solution? Do you just try to run faster? Do you find a better weapon to fight it?
You know, inside the dream, you can try all sorts of things. The source speaker even mentioned this amazing idea of transforming into a bird to fly away from a monster. But the thing is, these are all just temporary fixes. Fighting, hiding, even sprouting wings, none of it actually ends the dream. The only real escape, the only way to make the terror just disappear, is to realize it's a dream and wake up.
And this act of waking up has a name too. It's called Brahman, or self-knowledge. Now, this isn't about just learning new facts or reading a book. It's about a complete, fundamental shift in your perception. It's a direct, profound realization that your true self isn't this limited, separate person you've always thought you were. This is the ultimate escape hatch.
So, this idea of waking up through self-knowledge leads us to one of the most, well, honestly, one of the most mind-bending concepts in this whole philosophy, the relationship between the seer and the seen.
All right, let's go back to that nightmare one more time. When you're in it, who are you? Well, it's obvious, right? You identify with the person being chased. That's you. You're the hero of this terrifying story, the one at the very center of it all.
But wait a second. You've got to ask yourself, where did the monster come from? It didn't just wander in from another dream. Your own consciousness created it, projected it, which means, in a very, very real sense, you are also the monster that's chasing you. And if you can believe it, it goes even deeper. The creepy streets you're running on, the dark buildings, the very air you're breathing, all of it is also a creation of your mind. So get this, you aren't just the hero and the villain, you're the entire stage on which this whole drama is playing out.
This philosophy actually gives us specific terms for all these moving parts. You, the consciousness watching it all, you're the drashta, the seer. The world, the monster, the streets, that's the drisha, the scene. The powerful illusion that makes them feel so separate and real, that's called Maya. And the ultimate truth that it's all actually one and the same thing, that is Advaita, non-duality.
Okay, so this is all pretty fascinating, heady stuff. But you might be wondering, what's the practical point? How does understanding non-duality actually change how we deal with the biggest challenges in life? You know, like our own mortality.
Well, let's just look at two very different perspectives on death. For the Ajnani, that's the person who's still trapped in the dream of duality, their perspective is, I am this body and my life is ending. And so the experience is pure fear and struggle. But for the Jnani, the one who is woken up, the whole perspective shifts. It becomes, I am consciousness, and this body is just a temporary experience that's now ending. For them, the experience is one of peace and release, because they know their true self isn't the thing that's actually perishing.
And this is the absolute core insight.
Look, the physical bodies of both the wise and the ignorant are gonna pass away. That's just a fact of nature. The huge, profound difference is all about identity. The wise person doesn't really die because they've already realized that their true identity was never limited to the temporary body in the first place. It was always that timeless consciousness. And really, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. This knowledge doesn't promise you a life with no problems. You're still going to face challenges, loss, sickness, but what it offers is something so much more powerful. A new perspective, a new place to stand from which those events no longer have the power to create suffering inside you. It is the key to real, lasting inner freedom.
And so that leaves us with one final, pretty powerful question to think about. If this whole life, with all of its incredible highs and its painful lows, is a kind of dream, then who is the dreamer? Thank you for exploring that with me.